the Happy Hour Podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Hello, welcome to the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast, episode number 19. Today we are featuring flooring department. That sounded really corporate and awkward. But some of our flooring team today, go ahead and if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Bronco. I'm doing flooring service.
Bronco who?
Bronco Bell.
There you go.
Work primarily out of the Brookfield store, although I'm downtown material. I take care of little things that other people can't. I do warranty work, I do inspections. Pretty much if you walk on it, I can fix it and or help diagnose issues.
And how long have you been here?
I've worked here for 11 years now. I came with the Brookfield building.
And how long did you work in Drexel for Drexel Interiors?
Just 1 year.
1 year, all right, so awesome.
Why the nickname?
I was in the adult movie industry.
That's what I figured. I knew it.
That's it.
Maybe you've seen some of my work.
I didn't
No,
want to say
I'm just
anything.
kidding. I grew up in a little subdivision outside of Waukesha that everybody had a nickname. Like my sister's nickname is Cookie, and she always had Cookie in the jam. Everybody had a nickname. Mine is just stuck.
And where does it derive from? Is it that awkward?
Were you
or
riding
you
a
don't remember?
horse? or-
No, it was Bronco Nagurski, so it's all the neighborhood dads all drinking beer in the garage.
And who's Bronco Bell? I don't know.
He was a very famous Chicago Bears player.
Oh, okay.
Very good football player.
All right, great. All right, good story.
Yeah. Good job, Bronco.
April?
Way to show me up. I am April Dean, and I lead these wonderful people in the flooring department.
How long have you been here?
Year and a half.
Awesome. Welcome.
What I got.
Cool. I'm Jason Strobel. I'm in sales, predominantly new home construction, some retail. I've been doing flooring for 10 years, 11 years, and I've been with the company for 20, 21, 14 full-time and 7 part-time.
Awesome. Awesome. So Jason's working in Camel Sport, working ops.
I did a little bit of everything.
More work?
Receiving, delivering, ops there, millwork, assistant store manager here, and then full retail sales in Brookfield and now contract sales. So done a lot of little different duties. So.
All right, well, let's officially get the podcast started, the happy hour one. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, what a beautiful sound. All right, great, great.
Jason, that was really sad.
Good to hear. That was refreshing.
Matt would be really disappointed.
Oh, I know.
Why,
I
was there shotgun it or
I
what?
was going to.
Yeah.
Oh, and you did shotgun it?
Yeah, he's mad.
Overturn, go get a beer
We
and a
gotta-
pen.
What?
Get a beer and a pen?
I don't need, I'll just slam it. We don't need to.
Yeah, get a beer and a pen, make it,
Well, right here's one.
Bring
What's
four.
the difference?
Bring four. Yeah.
You know what this?
I could stab it for you.
Yeah.
You know what this feels like? You know, in Talladega Nights when he doesn't know what to do with his.
Like, it's a pen, right? So first of all, I was just at a bar, I shotgunned a beer randomly at CC's, sorry.
No, that's okay. Say I don't know what to do with my eyes.
Like, you can do shotgun with a pen,
You
right?
can do it with your thumb too.
No, you do it with a pen.
See, it's with the pen. I was
It's
at
with
the
a
bar and they
pen.
were yelling like, pen!
Yeah.
And I'm like, you gotta do
So-
it with a key. I'm like, you can do it with the
No,
pen.
you do it with a pen.
You can find the air bubble in here and push your thumb through and do it as well.
Only
Expert.
Superman can
What
do
an
that.
expert, what an expert. Okay, April, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like Talladega Nights when you don't know what to do with your hands, you know, and he's doing this in the pictures, but we don't know what to do with our eyes. Like I don't know
Right.
how to look. It's like awkwardly staring.
It is weird being on the side.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
it is.
even
Yeah.
watching them, they're weird. Like,
Yeah,
It'd be much easier if it was snow now because then you could just focus on the snow.
That's exactly what happened.
because that wouldn't be weird at all.
Okay, well, let's get to it. So a little backstory on flooring, how we got into flooring. This is 11 years ago, right, Bronco? What was
Correct.
the date? Do you have a date? You're like a numbers guy.
December 16th.
Ah, see, I knew it. Is that your
What
birthday?
year?
Yeah.
I knew it. Look, see, that was pretty good. That was pretty
Right.
good. Happy birthday.
2009.
Well, when Joel acquired us, it officially happened or was announced or something.
that's
Was it December 16th? That was on my birthday.
Was that the day that it was announced, or was the day it happened?
I think that's the day it actually happened.
Happened. Okay, so the day it was announced was like the weekend before.
Yeah.
Like when we did Blinker, that was like announced it, and then 3 months later, this happened. This literally, we announced it on a Friday. I believe it closed on a Monday.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
might have been a week, but I don't think it was. I think it was literally just the weekend.
Right.
So it went quick. And this is how we literally got into flooring and how things have evolved around here. You know, as you know, a lot of you know, I'm a driver, make decisions quick based on the data that I have, as well as my dad was even more so that way, and just kind of trusted that gut feeling. So we walked into Drexel Interiors thinking we were going to buy them, had a pretty good offer going, and we're trying to getting married to the idea, if you will, or bought into the idea. And I remember, I'll never forget, we walked in the door and there was like all this flooring on the left, and it was just obnoxious amount of flooring at that time, window treatments and wallpaper. My dad, I'll never forget, my dad looked at me, he's like, so we're gonna really get into flooring? And I'm like, yeah, why not, give her. And he's like, sounds good to me. And that was like how our decision was into flooring, nothing about the P&L or long-term vision or 5-year plan, and we just launched ourselves like jumping out of an airplane into flooring. So that happened in December 16, 2009.
Yeah, 9.
And I basically committed myself being down there, quote unquote, until it was fixed. Is that kind of the term?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Right. And Jason basically started closely thereafter.
I was July of 10.
Right, so 6 months in.
And I
literally firing people, Bronco, once a week?
Yeah, it was like
Regular.
bathing.
It was like bathing. I mean, I agree. I literally started attrition. I still do it every time a team member leaves the bus that I had a hand in. I go home and have a beer, like in their honor, and just to wind down and celebrate. And I don't drink a lot at home, so. But that was
You
like
did that.
every 3 days I would walk in and I would just grab a beer, and she's like, again? I'm like, yep. And you know, I kind of reflect on the day and have that beer, kind of in their honor, if you will. But still a tradition. So.
I think to be fair though, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, please, that's why we're doing this.
That you acquired a business that was failing.
Correct, right. No, it wasn't a ruthless.
Right, so it's not like you were in there just
Yeah,
with,
yeah, it was
with your machete.
It was much different. So like,
It makes it a little easier. You
right.
know.
I mean, Bronco, you were there. Even the people that worked there realized it was failing.
Correct. Yeah. We
And
were
thought
wondering
we-
about our paychecks.
Yeah, everyone knew it was going under. This was a sinking Titanic, and the customers knew it, the vendors knew it, the team members or employees, if you will, knew it.
Installers.
So it was like everyone knew it was going down, so we had to re-emerge. Very different than a blinker acquisition or anything we've acquired before or since or maybe ever. And we were losing $300,000 a month.
Right.
$300,000 a month at that location, and this is in 08 and 09, yeah, right? That's a lot of money, right, over time?
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah.
But they had to make
this, yeah,
decisions
this is
quick.
also, you know, when the whole market crashed.
Yeah, yeah, it's for historical reference, we lost 75% of our customers within 3 months. And it's not like they died or went out of business, they just literally had zero activity. So take your top 75 customers right now, April, and they went to 0 sales. Like it was,
Yeah.
so you just literally had to live. And it was, everyone was going through it at the exact same time. So all your competition was going through it as well as your builders, which was absolutely insane.
Well, it was a new adventure for you too. We were never in the retail market. We were never in install.
Right, so
sales
we were
at
open
the time,
Sundays,
so-
Saturdays, we were open about
Nights.
70 hours a week, yes, 3 nights a
8
week
o'clock
till,
till-
I think it was 9 o'clock.
Correct.
It was at least
Was
late,
it?
but I think it was 9 originally.
Yes, it was.
9 p.m., so you're literally sitting there at 8 p.m. hoping somebody comes in. Absolutely nuts. We got into, some stories, we got into Costco, were you part of the Costco thing?
I wasn't.
You never were Sean Connell, shout out to
Yeah.
first Sean there.
Yeah.
Legendary. So I literally on a Sunday afternoon would work at Costco with a little booth as we sold retail. Did about $500,000 in retail sales a year with Costco, but it wasn't profitable. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
Sean had to go door to door, house visits, and work that through Costco. Sean had a great weekend, couple days, not weekend, in San Diego at the corporate offices.
My daughter actually did that at the kiosk, worked at the Costco, thing for Drexel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot that. I
Yeah,
forgot
it
that.
was-
You know, we did I think Jason was there for that. We actually had a funeral to bury the old culture, and we actually built Ryan Hollick, shout out, built a casket in his team, and we had a axe.
Big axe.
Yeah, and he had to swing through the axe for the funeral, and we drank for it. Didn't work at all, April. Culture did not change after that. It was a great idea. It was awesome. but
With
the culture-
violence.
Yeah.
we kept moving on, but sorted things out, had some opportunities and some good fortune, learned a ton. And very proud to say Flooring has been our best improvement company in the department as far as profitability, which is not so much that we're charging customers more, but just no back end charges back. The stress levels have went from 2,000 down to normal, which again is still good. Like it's a good
Right.
stress. It just means you have things going on. Bronco's found a place where he's not just the fireman.
Correct.
You can actually get ahead of that, which was not a thing for a long time. And we're looking for new opportunities now, and we've streamlined our showroom and done a lot of cool things. How about you guys? What are some of your history, right? So a little bit why I brought you out some history stuff. That's my perspective. So my perspective is probably different than the people that actually went through it. So Bronco, all 11 years you went through that, basically from ground zero to somewhere back to ground zero, and 2 steps ahead, 3 steps back for 6-7 years, working with Joel every single day, right?
Correct.
Like that, and that wasn't, for you guys that don't know, this is the Joel most people know that you see today. That was not the Joel of 2009.
No, not at all.
The Dr. Evil one.
Yeah, yeah, no, like literally, and I did not care. Like I would come down there and like shit's gonna happen today. I literally got in the car on the way home, thought I played Superman. Like that was the best day I had in a month. Like man, I jacked people up. I was on it. I was super intense. I had no idea everybody else was gonna go home and gonna quit, and was just singed. My flame was so hot, I was just singeing everyone around me. Right? They were scared. They were embarrassed. They didn't know what was up or down. They didn't know what to turn left or right. But I got in the car going, man, that was awesome, right? Because my fire was just flaming, and I've had to control my fire so I don't.
Do you remember the
Really
time
see-
that I was wearing those blue glasses with sequins on them?
I'm sure not, no, but go ahead.
So you
it's-
asked me to come into a meeting, you wanted to talk to me, and your phone rang, and you said, excuse me, I'm gonna take this, or I'm gonna take this, whatever. And so you kind of looked down and at your phone, and I was trying to read a piece of paper that was in front of me, so that's when I was just wearing cheaters. And I sat on my other one, so the only pair I had was like this blue, baby blue with sequins all through them. And I put them on to read my paper, and Joel looked up and he goes, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Are you for real?" And I'm like, "That's the only pair I had." And I just thought that made me remember that. It was,
I didn't say joking is what you're saying.
yeah.
I didn't get the joke.
I don't think it was
I don't know if it was a
Well,
joke.
I was reading like this. I probably looked like Liberace or Elton John or something, you know. And you looked up and you went, "For real?"
Back then, in any given meeting with Joel, I would take 2 or 3 phone calls and might respond to 15 emails.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, but I'm saying you were so intense at that time.
Yeah, right.
And I just like, I put on these glasses. So you had to kind of come down. You had to.
Yeah, like I just couldn't keep it up. Like,
Right.
yeah. No, there was. I mean, we had some good times. It wasn't all horrible, but from your perspective, what was that like going through that?
From my perspective, I think that it was rather intense, but I've always said if I do my job, I do it at a high level, and I'm honest, and I do it right, then I've got nothing to worry about. And so I never felt that my job was in jeopardy. And I think that you've always been fair. You know, it is what it is. So I said I've never really felt intense, you know, fear that, well, what am I going to do? You know, do I have to look for another job? You know, what's it going to be tomorrow? Thankfully, I've never had that in this whole 11 years.
What do you think we've improved the most from the 11 years? Or like, take away from anybody in any department right now? Like, what had to improve? How do we get here? How do we finally, after Joel being there for almost 5 straight years, right? Different leadership levels. Like, what did we learn? If you had to do it again, right? If we took over a horrible flooring company again, what would be like? No, this is what for sure we want to lead with.
Personally, I was the only one that actually transferred from Campbell Sport down to Brookfield at the time. So I kind of knew the background. I sat next to you, Todd, your dad, you know, Steve Arias, Ben McCarty, you know, that was our up front group, and I could tell how intense it was and how much you guys grinded all day. You know, so when we went down there, it was a little bit different because these guys didn't know the mentality as much. And not that you were all fire and brimstone here, but I kind of got it. Like, I knew what to expect when we went down there. So what changed, I think, is we finally grasped the Drexel way.
Which is what to you? What does that mean to you?
Well, the processes, the procedural things. We do the things that we do here, that we do at Kiel, at Berlin, you know.
Even though it's
Wright,
flooring,
even
still
though
the
it's
same.
flooring now, it's starting.
You
or
feel
not starting.
like a lot of it's the same.
It's the same. So
I think the biggest thing too that I would add to that is that I think we operate more as a team instead of having
Correct.
16 little stores within a store.
Like each salesman running their own business, right?
Right. And I think
Wild,
that's,
Wild West.
yeah, exactly. And I think we operate more as a team that way, and that's really important.
Why is that important? What's the advantage? Like most companies, I would say, in our industries, flooring, cabinetry, and the supply side, manufacturing as far as truss designers too, run independently, and very proud of that. I have my own little book of business, and I'll take it wherever store I want, and that's what my contractors want. Why do you think team is superior, Bronco?
I think that if, on any given day, if Jason is struggling, although he doesn't struggle, Casey is struggling,
Ask April to
or
email
Sean's
us.
having a problem, there's somebody that can offer some advice, could take maybe something off their plate. I've seen Sean say, to Casey, you need a box of tile to drop us, I'll run it on my way. You know, I think there's so many people that will help. And I don't want to say it enables you not to be organized, but let's face it, things arise, things happen. And I think everybody kind of pulls on the same rope to get to that same end result.
And I think once you buy into that, like it's a team thing, but it's built on process and procedures, you have to be organized. You have to use the process and procedures so people can help you.
Correct.
If you run so independently, you're not organized, but then no one can actually help you when you need it. But then once you have that, that's when it's like, that's what the time saving has. You do me a favor, I'll do you a favor, and boy, now all of a sudden, 1 + 1 = 3, now 1 + 1 = 1.5, right?
Right,
That-
and in this time of COVID, I mean, it's really shown how everybody pulls together, because there's people are missing, you know, we're not at the store, they're still working, they aren't working, they are sick, they're not sick, but it doesn't seem like we've skipped a heartbeat, you know, not a beat once.
Right. So
I think-
Jason, go ahead.
I think a lot of it has to do with our culture too. I mean, if you look, when you took over Drexel Interiors, everybody was by themselves, kind of, you know, and, you know, you fired people, people left, we let go of people, and we built a team not based off experience. Sean was selling TVs at Best Buy next door, Stone was doing advertising, I was doing mill work.
Casey worked at a
Casey,
furniture store.
yeah, I mean, just the whole culture of the team is, or the whole team is built off the culture, and now we're grasping that, so, even in 10 years later, obviously we should, but, you know, you always hear hire off experience, hire this, hire that, and I know you're the total opposite of that, which is great. I finally grasped that when I went down there, like, you don't need that. The whole team used to want that, now we don't have that, you know, we hire whatever, we're selling newspapers or whatever, as long as you're good, you know,
Hire
grasp
people.
it, so.
I just remembered in the book, Danny Meyer's Setting the Table, which is part of our book club. Great book. It's one of my favorites. Book club, it gets different reviews because it's about the food industry. And when they look for people, they call it I believe he calls it the instincts of customer service. Like, right, there's certain people that have an instinct of just being nice to humans, and maybe it's how they were raised or where they come from or whatever that is. But they just have this instinctual, they get it, right? Like, you're looking for that person that, I know what it is to be hospitable. Like in a restaurant, right? Like, I just get how it is to serve people. And if you have those people, the rest becomes extremely easy. Jason, I want to go, April, anything to add to that?
I just wanted to say that it also, like, teamwork allows for balance too. Balance with your life.
Why?
You know, you can actually take a day off and know that things aren't going to fall apart when you're gone. That's huge.
I think it's huge customer facing.
Yeah.
Because you aren't relying on one rep to get you an answer, and now they're gone for 3 days, right?
And
So
you're not suffering from burnout too, you know?
yeah, you're not snappy to a customer because it's all on you. You're able to deflect that to a teammate that's more specialized in that department, perhaps. Jason, I want to go back to like a little history. You have a lot of it with the company. You're a pretty good storyteller. So when you started, how many people were at the company? Well, how old were you? Like, take me back to that. Give me like one day in the life of one of the first summers. How many summers did you work here?
So,
Went to
graduated.
college for 9 years, so that's at least
6.
9 summers.
Did you really? Oh my God.
Yeah,
With
and I don't have a
And he
degree.
does not have a
You don't have a
degree.
degree? How much
Communications
money?
and social activities.
Oh, how much beer money or tuition?
Tuition.
I still got a couple grand left.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah, so I graduated.
Cheers to UW Oshkosh. Hey!
Thanks.
Shout out to Oshkosh.
Salute.
Graduated high school in June of 2000, and that's when your dad bought all the railroad ties from West Bend to Fond du Lac. And my cousin Mitch and myself.
Explain that again. What was that?
So the railroads got taken up here from Washington County all the way up to Fond du Lac County, and Albert purchased all the railroad ties, or the good ones, the A ones, I'll never forget it. He purchased all those. I think there was 10,000 to 15,000 railroad ties that he purchased.
And the railroad went right through Camelsport, so they made a
right
huge
here.
pile
Yep, so they got
of those 15,000.
pile right here, and our job from
And we
7
talked
to
about my dad being an
11.
entrepreneur, right? Like, we didn't even sell railroad ties, and he saw the railroad tie, he knew the railroad was gonna begin out, so he called the railroad company and said, what are you doing with the ties? They're like, I don't really know, like, you want them? So my dad made an offer, and they're like, all right, well, any usable ones, we'll just dump off by you for this price. No clue what to do with them, right? Like, it was just a deal. That's like, my dad was
really
a
awesome.
true deal, yeah, like, talk about process procedures and different stuff. We can't lose the Drexel with 600 people. Can't lose the flexibility of what my dad created, right? Of just like, hey, let's go for it and try it, right? Like, if you think, why does Drexel go for it and try it? That's what we've always done. Like, this isn't new to our culture, right? So anyways, go ahead.
Yep, so our job from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. was to band the railroad ties up in bunks of 25, and then we just send them, stack them, and then we'd sell them, or they'd open them up and
so-
sell it individually or in bunks, whatever.
So I was like 25, right, when this happened. So like, again, my dad's got a little moxie and give us a little credit, right? So there's this huge pile. Well, what are we gonna do? Well, the best way to do it is band them up in units of 25. They're easy to sell that way. We can sell them in units or by the piece. We can also transfer them. At that point, we had, year 2000, we had Berlin as well. 2000,
Yep.
2000, right?
99 we started.
Right, so we actually could get them up to Berlin, like, then it looks professional, so my dad just decided kind of randomly, kind of work to do units of 25. So he had, my dad and Jason's dad are good friends, so knew Jason was looking for a job, so you came in and with who? Adam
Mitch.
Beck?
Mitch Strobel.
Mitch Strobel, shout out to Mitch Strobel.
Yeah, and then, so that was during the summer.
All summer, every day.
Every day. I was still playing baseball because we had summer baseball, so we had practice and all that stuff in high school. Then we'd actually go over to Tom's Quality Millwork and work from noon to 8 when I didn't have baseball, blah, blah, blah. And then went to college, and then during my breaks, I just
So let's
come
go back on
back.
the railroad ties, right? Were you paid hourly?
So
This
I
is
always
a
get,
great story.
I still get made fun of this to the day because
This is
we got
true-
paid hourly.
This is true motivation.
We got paid hourly, and then we had 2 guys, and one guy would
I'm taking
flip
full
the
credit. I'm
railroad
taking
ties.
full credit for this, by the way.
One guy would flip the railroad ties, one guy would stay in the forklift and band them up, blah, 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 blah.
So it was a 3-man gig.
So
And they
then-
were like maybe $6
So
an
then
hour.
in winter time, one of my buddies, God rest his soul, passed away in a car accident, helped me that winter time, Mike Farcione.
Mike worked here for a little while?
yeah.
I didn't know that, okay.
But that was all
I remember
hourly
that.
cash stuff,
Right.
whatever. So then EB's brother, Adam Beck, while we were still in school, he would take the railroad ties, but Adam's a little entrepreneur himself. He negotiated that he wanted to get paid per railroad tie.
He's full of shit. Like, that's what Adam does. He like changes stories. My idea was, I think these guys are milking the dog, and I'll pay you by the piece. And I told Adam, if I remember the story right, Adam will tell me.
He got paid a
why.
quarter of
Well,
tie.
I told Adam, you can build a crew, you can sub this out, you can do it with 6 guys, you can do it yourself. I'm paying you 25 cents a tie. Because I think the way Strobel had it was a milking the dog with 3 dudes. I think they're milking it. So Adam's like, cool. So he did it all himself and literally might have overworked these guys 5 to 1.
That's a little excessive, but.
Debatable, but it was a multiple of more than 1.
What is a railroad tie?
Like there's a railroad and they have the metal.
Yeah.
And then the wood on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's called the railroad tie.
Oh.
Use them for
They're
like
about
landscaping.
8 by 8.
25 cents for one of those?
Just to.
Not to sell,
just
you
to
gotta like put it in the pile, band it,
pile.
and make it a unit of
Just to-
25.
just to
Right,
put
we have
it
a
in the
mound
pile.
of 15,000 ties that are like you're taking toothpicks at the bar and going,
Yeah.
and there's 15,000 of those big ties, 8 inches by 8 inches by 8 foot.
We had 8 hours of work
We have
after that. That's why we
15,000,
had a-
right? So my dad said, here's a forklift, pick a tie apart, put them in a bundle of 25 and band them, and we'll pay you by the hour. You 3, one guy in the lift, one guy and another guy taking it. So then we went to Adam Beck and said, hey, we'll give you a quarter for each tie you band
Okay, yeah.
and keep track. Adam said, really? Cool. And he's like, yeah, hire 4 guys, hire 3 guys, it's like your little business.
Just over
Come
6.
on.
So he did by
And he just did it
Yeah.
himself.
He just did it by himself.
Yeah.
So anyway, to
Yeah, but you
continue
do like
with
in
that.
15 minutes. Like, you gotta figure it out, like you do like 15, 20 minutes. This is
Yeah.
back in the day.
I was thinking like,
You had to pick up a certain amount at a certain time and try to pick up 5 at a time because that's all you could put on the lift and
Yeah,
it's
it
like
ended up like a factory trying to figure it out.
20 years ago. Anyway, to continue off of that then, I could talk probably on this for 45 minutes, but
On railroad cars?
no, on the process to get here. So you
It's on day 6 that I was working here.
you ended up hiring, right? You ended up hiring Eric Beck,
Oh,
EB,
God.
and as we were going throughout high school, Adam was one of my best friends. We'd always go to their house
to drink and party. And EB at the time.
Is EB older or younger than you?
He's older, 5 years. No offense, EB, but he was 300 plus pounds, and he was the angriest guy I've ever knew in my life. And he'd always
At least he's skinnier.
and he'd always chew our ass out. So after that summer I was done banding railroad ties, and Joel asked if I wanted to take on my summers and winters working at Drexel, I almost said no because I was scared of EB. I did not want to work with EB. But I said yes. And then to answer Joel's question, so when I started in the yard here, I was the part-time guy, and I was one of 5. Jay Enright, EB, Scott Rosenthal, and Jeff Taylor, all of whom are here except Jeff Taylor, were the guys in the yard. Jay was running it. And then soon after I started, Jay actually went inside, and then EB started to run the yard. And then after that,
So when you came in, so give me the team lineup when you came inside. That's kind of interesting. So the first job you did inside was millwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then who was what was the office vibe when you were doing inside?
Oh boy. Well, you and Albert were in the corner. Todd was next to me. I think Ben McCarty was in at the time, and he came in shortly after that. I actually took Mike Haney's job. He left to go to Florida. Mike's back here now. Oh boy. I can't even remember.
We might have 15 people.
Julie
on the
Forth
inside.
was up there.
Yeah, Julie Forth.
Stephanie.
Answered phones, right?
Steph. What's her name?
Gatsky.
Gatsky.
Right.
Yeah, Wendy.
Nice stuff.
Wendy.
Steph's now a cabinet designer in Kiel.
Yeah, so, that lineup was crazy too. I mean, I didn't get a choice to go down to South flooring at Brookfield. The window slid open from Joel and looked at me, he goes, "You're going down to Brookfield to South flooring." So, that was my next job.
That was how we got interviewed for it. That's how you got interviewed for things back in the day.
Yep. So.
There wasn't a team unity of decision making back then.
But yeah, and
No case study.
just hearing
No
what
case studies.
Walsh said on the Culture Club thing the other day about 10 million in 1 month, we were scrambling when we were doing 700,000 in 1 month. So it was quite a difference from when we were here till now.
Right, the year 2000, I would say we probably did, that year, I'm guessing we did around, I'd say maybe 20 million. I think we might have been right with 2 locations. This year we'll probably do 300 million. So in 20
Yeah.
years, that's
300 million
what's
what?
changed. $300 million
Oh.
revenue. Did you know that overturn? Is that a lot of money?
Is that like, I keep forgetting, is that like total, is that profit or no?
That's sales.
It's like total?
So sales and profit, sales is the top number.
Okay.
Profit, it's what's left, right? So after you pay all your costs, it trickles through and then the money's at the bottom. Revenue is sales, that's the top number.
It's been 2 years since
And
my-
old fashioned's $4 at your dad's business.
What is it?
What's your old fashioned, 450? 5? 6?
5.
That's a
Like
good
5?
price, old
Does-
fashioned.
And you probably, I would guess your dad has taught you that. Do you make $5 on old fashioned?
No.
Right. So that's the sale of the old fashioned is what?
$5.
What you make on it is way different, right?
Yeah.
Right, even though your cost in that is very cheap, right? Ice
Right.
is cheap.
I gotta say, just springboarding off of that, that's one of the coolest things over the past 11 years is watching our growth, just based on sales. It's unbelievable when, you tell somebody that when I started, we're $20 million. Now we're projected 250 like last year or something.
Right. And-
It's just really cool watching the progression of living it.
You know what you guys, nobody on our team understands yet. I just had the realization of it, in fact, and it just hasn't taken an impact yet. We'll get there. So if we would have been an ESOP then, remember we're an ESOP, so you're getting shares of the company. I love calling them wealth shares. I read that somewhere, wealth shares. And it's true. If you guys would all got shares in 2000, the value of the company in 20 years, you would be making more money on the shares of your stock per year than what you make working here, okay? And it's hard to grasp that, but that hopefully in 20 years, you'll be looking at your ESOP shares going, that went up more in value based on the additional shares I got and projected from last year, that went up more in value this year than what I made at the company. Like that's a real thing. Like if we would have had an ESOP 20 years ago, that's what or 11 years ago, that's what you'd be looking at, Bronco. You'd be looking at your ESOP going, that went up more than my pay.
I think we could retrofit this one thing.
I think so.
If you can, I'm getting bought out, so if you can retrofit my pay, right? right? And then I'm like, why am I selling if we're going to keep going up in revenue, right? But yeah, that's kind of the really cool part of the ESOP. And again, it's very hard to see because right now you have this little bitty check and you haven't seen the growth of the checks. But once you see that trajectory, I think that's when the team's really going to buy in and understand what it means to be an owner and what kind of level of pride that is, but also care that is. Not that we don't have that as a team, because there's like profit sharing, which is like short-term decisions, and then ESOP wealth shares, which are like, okay, does this impact profit sharing? And does it help the ESOP, right? If it answers both, one or the other, it's probably good. And then does it help the customer? If it helps the customer, it really helps us. But if really we're making decisions and it doesn't help either one, then why are we doing it? And if the customer doesn't want it, right? So that's all got to work. So April, right? So you don't have these big, long history lessons.
I don't, no.
But let's talk, what do we do with current revenue top level? Holden?
300 million.
What did we do in flooring last year?
We
do you know?
did almost 14 million.
Almost 14 million. It's
Yep.
an incredible amount. That's, congratulations, that's in 2 locations.
Which one makes the most money?
What makes profitable or sales? What's revenue
Like sales,
based?
yeah.
Sales in what department?
Yeah.
No department's bigger than 20%. Right, so lumber is about 20%.
Okay.
You guys are around,
I thought it was 7.
7%. Cabinetry's around 7, 8%, 12%.
Yeah, but they were 12, yeah.
Right, so we're very diverse. So lumber's probably still our biggest, but that's only 20%.
Okay.
Again, lumber encompasses a lot. Off-site manufacturing, that's probably close to 20 million. So a lot of them, it's very beautiful. We're a very diverse company that way. Great question. That's why he's our host.
I like it. You're a great host.
All right, so April, so what have you learned in a year and a half?
Oh,
Let's put it this way, I'll phrase it in a more specific question. A year and a half ago, you knew of Drexel, heard of Drexel.
Yep.
You were working on a competitor.
didn't know what I was going to do here.
Didn't know what you were going to do here,
Nope.
right? Keith Banhorst, shout out to Keith, kept saying you got to hire this dynamic April girl. I'm like, geez, Louise, dude, enough.
I know.
And then
I
I
think I
fin-
interviewed like 5 times.
Yeah,
with
and then I finally
like
had
10 different people.
I finally had lunch with you. And we were
Sounds about right.
I had lunch with April, and we were awkward high top.
Totally. Oh
Right?
my gosh, I remember. Yeah.
Right? It was like
Yep.
an awkward high top. I don't know why
April
the
standing
dynamics
and
was
you were
awkward.
sitting, or?
Well, it was like, I don't know if Keith and April were dating, and I was like the third, it was like Keith was there, it was like the third wheel, Keith and April had like a rapport, and then I'm like the third wheel guy. And I'm like the dad stirring the drink as the 2 people are talking, like, "Guys, over here." And I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna do here, April, but then within 15 minutes, I'm like, she's gotta work here, she's dynamic, she's awesome, let's figure this out. So that's kind of was the start.
Yeah.
And she actually presented a business model of what it looked like, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, they, well, first he said, well, what do you want to sell here? And I'm like, what do you want me to sell here?
Right.
How about flooring? He's like, perfect.
So you kind of spun it
flooring.
back, right?
And he's like, let's do a Shark Tank thing. And I'm like, what? I hate talking in front of people, so it was an absolute nightmare.
Which is the most ironic thing.
Right.
I know. I don't know. When it's just like a small group, I'm totally fine. But I didn't know
Except to
anybody,
trick
and
your
I had
brain.
no
You trick
idea
your
what I was
brain that it's
getting
always
myself
just a small
into.
group.
Yeah.
You're waiting for that. So my question is, your perception of Drexel as a competitor, right? And it's kind of like sports, I say. Like we're like the, you guys know we're a sports guy. It's like welcome to the Yankees, right? Welcome to the big bad Patriots, right? Maybe that's now, I don't know who that is right now, the Lakers. Like, oh, okay, what does that mean? So when you came to our team, what was the perception you had versus now a year and a half in the reality? What do people not know, or what do people in that are in this culture
I would
not
say-
know about what people think of us?
I would say that the biggest thing is that the culture is actually real. It's a real thing. So, like Keith telling me about it, I'm just like, oh, sure, yeah, whatever, a bunch of shit.
Or even seeing
That's
us,
just what they
or even
talk
reading
about.
our stuff, or seeing us out and about, like, wow,
Yeah.
nice marketing douchebags.
Yeah, exactly.
I just
Yeah,
got to
a whole lot
interrupt
of
you because it's
branding.
just funny because I got a text message from my buddies the other day, and it was a screenshot, and it said, I don't know if it was on Facebook or what it was on, and it was a screenshot that said companies that are most like a cult or something, and somebody must
Yes.
have put Drexel Building Supply on there, and they circled it and sent it to me. And just to make fun of me, it was like, whatever.
Yeah, I'll
but-
go to the bar and they make fun of me that we have like happiness connectors in the HPD department, and they just think it's hilarious. So,
Right.
I would say that the biggest thing is just like, yeah, I mean, really, it's a cult. I mean, I heard that over and over again, and how real is this culture? And it actually is real.
Well, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I could like tear up. That's awesome.
Yeah, like it's just
Over
not a
the
whole bunch
cult or
of.
Yes,
Yeah, which
all
one?
of it.
Yeah. We're actually being drugged right now.
As usual, right? No, I mean, it's something you have to buy into, right? And it's hard on the outside when you don't work at a culture where people actually believe in our mission of supply happiness and that we really do try to have fun at work and it's really okay and you're empowered to have fun at work. I mean, I was just at Amherst. I would say 95% of the people at Amherst are there. It was amazing today. The energy level after 7 months was there. And you still tell there's 4 or 5% going, what the hell's going on? Joel's here, right? And that bothers me because I know they haven't quite bought into like, you can just be yourself. It's fine, right? So it's good. That's great. What else have you learned?
Well, we have come a really long ways in the flooring department.
What does that mean?
It means that we let a lot of people go.
But why is that important? Like, why do people have to leave the train, right? We're a cult, we're supply happiness. Can't you just train people and make them better? Like, why do they have to go?
No, sometimes you just can't change personalities. That's probably the biggest thing. There are some people that just don't belong at Drexel.
And what I've learned is that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
They'll
It's
probably,
just not a good
God
thing.
met them to be somewhere else. And normally, maybe not always, they're better off somewhere else. They know they don't fit in either,
They
for
drag
whatever
the rest
reason.
of the team down.
Yeah. Yeah. So where are we going, April? Our leader?
Well, hopefully to more locations.
That's a goal.
Yes, that's a goal. First we have to take over Milwaukee, so grab more market share this year. That's a big push of mine,
Okay.
especially this first and second quarter. Yeah.
So if you're a builder out there that doesn't buy from us, ask, why okay, so you're gonna take over Milwaukee, why? Who cares? I mean, what do you do different than anybody else? Carpetland, Nunsies, Malkin's, not Nuns,
I would say the
Carpet City, I don't know, who else are, whatever you're listed in our competition, we know who you are.
I
We're
would
coming
say
for you. Like, okay, I'm Builder Z, I don't buy shit from you, my flooring guy's whatever, it's a flooring dude, girl. Why would I take your call?
I would say that the biggest thing that we do different is that our salespeople are actually out in the field managing their own jobs. They do their own measures, they manage their own jobs, they meet with their customers, they have enough support on the inside that they can actually, the person that you buy from is the person that you're gonna see at your house.
Why is that
And
important to
that's
me as a builder?
Because that's less passing of folders or information, there's less hands in the cookie jar. Like if Jason quoted something or promised something, he's gonna follow through with it. He's the one that's out there, he's the one that's at the job site, he's the one managing it. In a lot of companies, they have guys out in the field that are doing that for sales, and things don't get done as quickly because they have to go through the chain to ask, or maybe something does get done that Jason didn't approve, and it's just a lot of back and forth.
I think a lot of it has to do with the overall organization of the team,
Mhm.
from the ops to the inside team, to the service, to scheduling, and to making sure we have the right installers on the job sites. So, there's a lot of moving parts to being an inside or installed sales that go along with it. It's, I know I always say it, it's not like selling a 2x4 and just shipping it to a job site.
The cool part is we don't do that anymore.
You build them.
We actually build them. So we're actually now installing them as well.
So, true.
We're there.
Yeah.
We're there.
Football. But just that overall concept, and we have, a scheduling department that'll call, installers to coordinate and then coordinate with the builders. We have Bronco and his team as far as if we need service or a board replaced. I mean, it's going to happen. A person's going to move a refrigerator and you're going to get a scratch in the floor, or something's going to happen and we don't know. Instead of pointing fingers, just like Drexel usually does, we take care of it. So that goes a long way.
And we have awesome
and-
pods now.
Yeah,
So
and
you've
the
got-
teams and
Yep.
everything else. So
Bronco, how do we ensure installation to me in flooring is, it's not everything, but it's probably the most underrated part, right? Because Jason can do his job as a salesman unbelievably well. We can have the best product, we can have the best customer experience in our showroom, we can provide the best product out there at the very best price. But if this gets installed bad, or the person's a prick, or the crew's late, or they have a flat tire, or they're dropped the ball, or it just is a bad install on a $50,000 very normal custom tile job, it's horrible. I'm never coming back.
Right.
I don't care what happened. That's the taste in my mouth and the reality of it. That's what I fear the most. Since all of our installers are not in-house.
Correct.
We do hire firms to work with us, but they're, you know, how do you guys, what levels in 11 years have you learned? Because you're very, very close to that, closer than anybody probably in the company. How do you ensure that we have the best installers currently in the Milwaukee, and I would say, you know, Washington, Fond du Lac, Dodge, Sheboygan County area? How do we know we have the best installers, and how can our contractors know that? What levels do we do at Drexel to make sure we do?
Well, I think going back to when they come in and they apply to work at Drexel or to pull work out, you know, that's where it starts. We have to do some sort of research, you know, to find out if they've got any references, if they're credible. We've gone and done installer field trips, so we're actually going out on jobs while they're installing. So it's kind of hard to sweep things under the rug when we're looking under the rug. Make sure the fuzzy side's up, right?
Yeah.
And it goes.
Did you get that, Holden? Fuzzy side up, you know what that means? Come on, you can do this. Did you have a bad day at school? You seem kind of out of it today. Girl problems?
Carpet.
There you
Yeah.
go. Girl problems?
No,
You want to talk about it? Maybe later.
See you later. Next podcast.
I can tell, he's distracted today, he's distracted.
Fuzzy side up there.
Podcast 20.
Right, so then
Holden's
it
girl
continues on with our sales team, you know, they're out there managing their own jobs, so they're also being the inspector, the quality control, and I think that goes a long ways. And then again, what, you know, for service-wise, what sets us apart is we're gonna get it fixed. We're gonna get it fixed if there's a problem before your closing, and we're gonna worry about the why afterwards. And then we're gonna try and correct that. You know, if it's the appliance company constantly scratching the floor with the refrigerators, we're gonna make a phone call and say, hey, you guys, you know, this is like the third one that you gotta be more careful. Or at the end of the day, that we're not just pointing fingers saying, well, they did it, you worried about it. And so I think that is what sets us aside. We're gonna get it done, and then we're gonna worry about how to fix it and prevent it.
We also try to pay the best. We try
Right.
to give them
Yeah,
the most amount of money. We make the deliveries for them, we put the materials in the house for them. You know, so we just want it to run smooth. Like you said, Joel, we can do everything else on the back end of it. We need them to do everything else on the front end.
I think my key, which we were just working with on offsite construction as well, but anytime that we bring people into our company and we want the best people, we have to treat them, we have to pay them the best. More importantly, the job's gotta go smooth. So I think our advantage in the marketplace on offsite construction as well as flooring, and the difference maker for our installation team, is that our jobs go smooth. And we don't gripe, we don't scream, we have materials on time, in full, no different than supply. And when we do that, the best installers want to do more jobs for us. And the reverse is true. The worse we do and perform, the best guys and girls just tend to work themselves out of our network. And you're left with CD installers that are forced to feed off of already crappy jobs. And that, if you work with a competitor, that can snowball really fast. The job goes to hell crazy bad. So it's working with the best installers and treating them really well. And process and procedures way makes their life easier.
Agreed.
All right, so let's talk about the future a little bit in technology. So we have a thing called SIMS.
Sibs.
SIMS, yeah.
Sibs,
Yeah.
The SIMS, well, the SIMS is also a
Sims.
thing. Do you know about SIMS Overturn?
I bet you do.
Like the game?
Yeah, he knows
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people?
Yeah.
Other people, yeah. I played once for, I think it was 16 or 18 hours straight when I was in college. Did not eat breakfast, lunch, or supper. I thought it was the coolest game in the history of
You ever
time.
think about like what if
It was
that was
like
us?
the binge on the binge. What?
What if like that was us? Like war in simulation. We just don't know.
Are you high?
Somebody's running this
No,
right now.
I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm just saying.
It's your dude, man.
Think
I don't
about
know. Yeah, right.
it. We would never know.
We
Or
wouldn't.
would you?
I'm like always looking
What if
around.
I know?
You
What if
should
like
tell
some
us.
people know?
You should tell us.
Those people would make a lot of money if they said something. Actually, they probably make a lot of money for not saying anything.
Maybe that's how you die. You speak up.
I'm like short circuit right now.
Okay. Okay, so SIBS.
Sibs.
What's it stand for?
Oh man.
I don't
Tony.
even know. Tony
Tony.
came up with it, so.
He did. It's
Military guy, of course.
Yeah.
acronym.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
centralized I don't know.
Scheduling installation board?
I don't even know.
Scheduling,
Tony?
installation, builder,
Tony, let us know what
software,
SIBS means.
Yeah, Tony, tell us again.
Okay, so
It's
SIBS.
been over a year since we needed
So
it.
SIBS,
It's
go
been a
ahead.
long time.
What is it? What is it?
So it's a new scheduling software, and we're getting really close.
Proprietary, internal to Drexel.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, so we invented it.
Yep, and we're getting really close to introducing the app to our installers, which will make them want to work with us, because it's gonna make life a lot easier. And
What does it do?
it has all your paperwork on it, and it tells you where you're gonna go. You can check in and check out of job sites. You can type notes and send them directly to your salesperson if you need to.
So it's like a job,
It's-
it's like an internal job tracker.
Yep, and it
Takes pictures.
of the job
And they
site.
get paid off of it, right?
And
Yep.
invoice it right from your
Invoices.
So it's like a Drexel Amazon tracking tool, like our installers are FedEx that work for Amazon, and it can be
Goodness.
eventually customer faces that they would know, but currently it'd be an internal function.
Scheduler can send them
Yeah.
notes.
And we're
goes
close
right
to
on their
launching it, or we're already using it, just not to install it?
So we're already using it, just not to our subs yet.
The ultimate
So-
goal.
Some of the
Yep.
in-house guys are test piling in it.
Right.
And it's been
Yeah.
it's been a year-long project.
It's been over a year.
How
Yeah.
cool is it? Like, I don't think we're making it cool enough.
It's really awesome.
I feel it's
Um,
cool.
It's gonna be really, really awesome when all of
It's
our
just-
subs get in, we're all talking to each other, and it's gonna make life so much easier.
The cool thing about it too, the picture feature is if a year from now, Bronco does a job, takes pictures of it, a year from now there's an issue or whatever, we can go back into that job really easy, instead of going into Bronco's phone saying, yeah, I did this job, I'm doing, like trying to search through
Do any
pictures.
flooring companies have this?
I don't believe so.
No one else has it.
No.
No one else has it.
No,
So-
not like this, not like an app.
So
I mean,
huge
maybe
research and
like-
development thing, very
So-
cool, lots of
Yeah.
time, lots of hours.
Lots of time, lots of hours.
I know there'll be a lot of training on it, I mean, still
Yeah,
got the
definitely.
training wheels on it.
And again, the advantage is that connection from sales to install, to scheduling, to the client,
Yep.
right? It's like a four-legged stool.
I think the cool thing too is that if you have any questions
Four-legged
about if
stools.
your installer is there, you can see if they've checked into the job. You can
Right.
see when they left,
Right.
you know.
So it's real-time job management,
Yep.
to some degree.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cool,
no, it'll be cool.
Yeah, we're
right.
getting there.
Other thing you guys want to talk about is the flooring team, reason we have you on.
I think the things we do on Wednesday that we did today, I can't even do
The
it.
tactical
Our
meetings?
Tacticals, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, our tactical's working. First of all, like,
I-
you know,
I-
that's a
I
company-wide
usually
buzz.
can't too much.
I think on our end, I think we got a lot across, because.
Go pack. We're
Again.
shotgunning them, don't open them. I'll tell you that.
Because again, on the back end of it, I lost my train of thought, but
The tactical meetings.
Tactical.
that, on the install end of it too, we have to talk a lot as far as, actually how to properly install items. So, hardwood lately, the NWFA just came out with, you have to glue assist any floor down over 5 inches, and we did that as a team, we worked on that, presented it, April went forth with it, Bronco, and, that was one thing that came up in the tacticals. So, the next thing is Schluter, we're continuously trying to do Schluter. So we talk about it a lot. I like the tacticals.
What I love about tacticals, in this, I'll use that example. A couple things, and that was the hope and goal of the tacticals. Teams, and the light bulbs clicking in these little departments. You're now empowered to have a voice. You realize the number one thing I think is leaders were used to be responsible for that. So there was a tremendous pressure on either salesmen or Aprils of the world or Joels of the world. Okay, this came out, how do I get the communication to the team? How do they take it? And the team says, I never get the right communication, how I want it, when I want it, where I want it. So it's like, I'm not being told anything by April. April's like, I'm doing my best. So she has this supreme pressure to make all decisions, get all the communication out. Now it's simply the team owning it, what's important to you, let's fix that in real time. I've seen so many things get fixed and changed of real life problems quickly, easily, and seamlessly that I would have put the monkey on my back and rode around with an 800-pound monkey for a month, hoping and praying everyone heard my voice in a way I wanted to with my own decisions, but something I created. And literally, leaders created their own problems, invented them, and then fixed them, and then told the team, this is what I think is the biggest problem, based on limited feedback, and this is how I fixed it. And Jason goes, that's not even the problem, right? So that tacticals to me are unbelievably huge. So the number one is taking the pressure off of leaders. The second one, where we're going and getting closer to, is that you're actually gonna see, okay, that's kind of a silo thing. Seeing other departments come into other tactical and saying, you're my problem and issue. How can your team help me fix it, take it back to my team to tell me it's fixed? When we get to that level, now it's gonna be secret magic sauce. That's magic sauce.
Yeah.
When it's not a salesman, it's not flooring sales kind of complaining, I call it bitching, right? About each other and just life and whatever. When it's not bitching, it's actually real issues and saying, oh, so I need to go to scheduling tactical because this is a scheduling issue that impacts our job, and let them fix it on their own. Salesmen aren't fixing it for scheduling. You fix it, tell us how you fix it so I can take it back there. Oh man, when I see that happen, our company, again, if we're a cult and good, we're gonna go from here to here quickly forever.
That's probably happening in every other tactical in
Yeah,
ours, right?
I think we're,
You guys are there.
it's also really awesome, just the
happening.
connection with the team and.
Yeah, everybody has a different personality, so it
Yeah.
helps
I
open
think
up.
that it really helps for doing real-time fixes, because I'm gonna go back to something you said, like case studies. You don't need a case study on issues, just.
Correct.
It's real time, okay, well, why don't we do this?
It's real time.
And, okay, that's a great idea, let's fix, okay, that's done. So I think that's what I really like about the tech.
I agree. And the connections. I love the 5-minute, hey, just tell me what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
And I feel it takes 5 minutes just to get caught up, especially weekly. I'm like, all right, you're good, that was funny. Like, okay, now we're all back. And that does take time, but it's important.
And everybody's going a million miles per hour, so it's just awesome to have everybody on one screen, laughing, connecting, even if it's only for like 5 minutes. We try
That's
to
all
do
it really
silly
takes.
things in the
I actually like to
beginning
see
of
where
ours.
everybody's at, because sometimes, like Brad today was in his car, it's like, I don't know, I think it's kind of fun to see.
Jason likes to chew with his mouth open during tacticals, and
Sometimes
he
they
doesn't
eat.
mute himself.
No, but there's like, a real connection. It's like, it is kind of like
real
high school,
connection.
where you have lunch together, right? Like you just have
Yeah.
lunch, and then it's like, you just have histories of lunch, and this is, oh, you got that peanut butter jelly again going, right, and whatever, so.
Lunch right now kind of sucks because you can only sit with like 4 certain people. You
That
have to-
does.
You have to stay there the whole time.
What the world is doing to high school and grade school kids is literally, unbelievably, historically horrible.
And last
Travesty.
trimester,
Travesty.
so
For
if
no
you-
reason, none of these kids get sick.
If you eat cold lunch versus hot lunch, you just sit. One's in the choir room, one's in the lunchroom, and all my friends were eating cold lunch, so I just sit with like random people.
Right, and
Well,
you're
you get to
still
meet
blessed,
people
'cause-
then.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're still the most blessed kids because you're 5 days a week.
Yeah, my
So
kids don't
all
go
the
to school right now.
restrictions, It's
Really?
unbelievable.
Nope.
It's unbelievable. It's
Zero
unbelievably
school.
horrible what everybody's going through on that level at the grids. And again, people dying and sick, but the young kids are not. They're being impacted the most. So I feel awful for them. So, did you have something else? Anything else we're going to talk about flooring? We're going to move on to the billboard.
No.
All right, so
We're good.
traditional billboard, we forgot it last week, or with number 18, but we try to bring it back every week to some degree if we can and have time. So this week we're going to ask the question: you have a billboard, big billboard, lots of people see it. You can put anything you want on it, anything you want on it. What do you put on it and why? April.
Don't overthink it. I got that from Tim Mulder. We all spend way too much time overthinking everything all the time. We waste so much time overthinking. And my second billboard below it would say naps, baths, and heroin. Living my best life.
It's the hashtag is living your best life.
Hashtag living my
Living your
best life.
Say it again.
Naps, baths, and heroin.
Naps, baths,
This is
heroin.
our flooring leader.
Derived on what? Derived from what?
So, I have a
Opium
really tight group of friends that I hang out with all the time, and they make fun of me that I'm always taking naps and taking baths, and they just figure that the heroin must be at the end of it. So that's why I always have so much
Naps
energy.
and baths
I'm
sound really
always so
boring.
happy.
Heroin just kind of takes it there,
Yeah,
right?
because I'm
Smear
kind
on
of
'em.
crazy.
Right.
Yeah, naps, baths, and heroin.
Naps are like, it is literally, I have 0 hobbies. If I have a hobby, it's a nap. Like sleep. I used to say until I was about 30, sleep when you're dead. And now I'm like, oh no,
Oh, I
sleep is
love
like the
sleep.
number one thing.
In that
the world.
order, too, by the way. It has to be that order.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you need the heroin after the bath.
I don't need a bath after the nap. Wouldn't be baths, naps? Don't you take a bath and then get tired?
Yeah.
I don't
I would
think
take a
so.
bath before the nap because then like
Right.
makes you feel
Yeah,
more
but sometimes when you wake up,
Are
you're
you a
kind of
bath guy
sticky.
overturn?
I'm a shower guy, but I
Yep.
sit down and
Sleep.
shower. It's also
I'll take a nap in the bath.
Oh, that's good too, yeah. I have a TV in my
I'm so
bathroom,
bored.
so
Yeah,
I
if you
like
have a
to
TV,
watch
you're fine.
Dateline.
I'm so bored in the bathtub. I got nothing going on in there.
I watch
You can get one of those
Dateline.
like racks
Yeah.
that are in front of you. put like a laptop on it or something.
Pam needs a TV, and we've talked about
Yeah,
Pam
I
should have
mounted a
in the
TV.
past, yeah.
This is living my best life, Joe.
I get it,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But also don't overthink it.
Still
So don't
overthinking that.
overthink the heroin.
So
Yeah,
you want
don't
to
overthink.
switch these now because you started with Dollar Knife.
Well, Dale remember thinking it was the corporate one, the
Yeah,
real one we got.
exactly.
We got
Real
to.
one.
We got the
It's the two-sided billboard. The one that no one sees is don't overthink it. The one that everybody sees is the real one, right?
Yep.
All right, so Jason, we'll go with you next.
I guess you can take it for what it is, but
Take it for what it is.
yeah, it's kind of dark. It can be
I
darker.
thought that was what it was. Take it for what it
No,
is.
no, not that. You lose everything you care for. You decide. So the whole, I mean, it was actually funny. I was watching a movie the other day, and that's what he said in the movie. So I kind of took it like
What
that.
movie?
You're right. It was Deja Vu. I don't know why I was watching it with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, it's a good actor.
Is it good? Good movie?
It was all right. But he said that in there, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. You lose everything you care for, so you decide. In this world today with technology, Facebook, Twitter, everything, I mean, there's so many different things out there that get in the way of being around friends and family, alcohol, I mean, whatever. You have a lot of things that get in the way. So in the end, you decide. You decide how you want to live that life with the people.
Where you take your 24 hours a day.
What was
Is that
that?
what you're saying? Like you decide what you do with your 24
Sure,
hours.
yeah.
Don't get distracted.
Yeah.
All right, I like it.
Embrace
I
it.
do too. Prioritize.
And I take it a little bit as you lose everything anyway.
And that's what it is. You lose everything you care for.
Eventually, I mean, you're gonna
You
die,
decide.
right? I mean, your mom passed away. And,
Yeah.
I mean, 100 years from now, none of us. I mean, I think that is. I say it on most pods. 100 years from now, at least the people in the room, but almost everyone listening, they're all gonna be dead.
Everyone that's
I
alive
can't-
right now will be dead.
I can't believe we don't talk about that. Like in 100 years from now, we're all gonna be dead. Like that's a very limited amount of time to do anything, and why we don't talk more about the very limited asset of time is unbelievable. And how we like fake it in our culture and our society. And then how much we fear death, right? Like the pandemic goes back to the pandemic. How much we just fear death. Like we're all gonna be dead. Just realize it. It's a fine. And plan for it to some degree. Like have that plan in your head. Like, all right, well, this is what's gonna happen. And don't fear it. Like it's a absolute spiritual reality, not. It's an absolute reality. So choose wisely, right?
Prioritize.
It was way
Right,
deeper
prioritize.
than
Have you ever seen Adam Ruins Everything?
What?
Like that show?
I don't, honestly, don't overthink it though,
Can you
April.
add
That's
Harry
not
Potter
actually,
to yours?
I mean, the nap thing maybe, but don't overthink it. I mean, don't overthink it's a lot too though, right? Like you know what you need to, I mean, I think a lot of times you know what you need to do, you're not willing to do it. It's either too hard, right? It's too hard, it's too awkward, it's too different. What are people gonna think? I'm gonna make somebody feel bad if I go this route, right? Well, that's not possible. Well, don't overthink it. You know what needs to be done. Make the phone call.
Yes, don't underthink it.
All right, Bronco. All right, Bronco.
Right. So
You're up.
Bronco didn't know that he had to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
but he's a philosophical guy. So I'm guessing he's got something.
Yeah, I would put on there in the biggest, boldest letters, finish. Because I think so much of our problems are because we didn't finish something. We didn't take it to the end. We ran the ball to the 5-yard line and we fell down. That's, I think, a lot of problems in life are because of that.
Why do you think we don't? Anyways, this is a good one. That's good. You were wrong, but you didn't have it thought
No,
out.
I
This is
know.
good. So why don't you think we finish things?
I think because of personal habits, laziness.
It's too hard.
It's too hard, or I think that's good enough. Just the bad attitude as far as that goes.
Distracted?
Yeah, distraction, the phone rang, so you didn't finish it, you didn't, that's, so many things, I think, whether it's, you did put a phone number on an invoice, it's because you were distracted possibly. How that affects somebody else, or if there's not a plan, how that affects somebody else. Or the installer got distracted because his phone rang, and he forgot to tuck the carpet, let's say, and now it's coming up. So now that affects somebody else. My biggest thing is finish, get it to the end.
You know what I think it is? There's a little bit too of boredom.
Would be,
This
yeah.
is too easy. I've already went 95 yards.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I mean, I've taken it this far. I have to go right? Dominate the Milwaukee market. You want to dominate the Milwaukee market, take care of the customers you have, right? Finish the clients you have. That'll get you referrals. That'll get you new business. Not saying you're not doing that. But we quickly get onto the shiny new project that needs my attention right now versus actually finishing the task at hand, which I've done 100 times, and it's mundane, and anyone can do this, and it's super boring.
But I'm gonna do another 100 times until I'm dead.
Right.
Because we're all gonna die, we've decided.
Right. But in the act of doing the simplest things is showing the greatest love, is showing the greatest care for the team around you, so finish it.
Right. Just, that's the message I would tell everybody, finish.
Right, sprint to the end. That's good, that's
Well,
good.
it's
I'm
Bronco.
obviously being a sports guy,
I could-
loving the Packers. I had to exercise my demons last night, and I rewatched the 2014 NFC Championship against the Seahawks.
Who would do that?
Because
Yeah,
I had
that's
never
really
watched
lame.
a highlight of it, because I was
Like a Jets fan watching
so
the Super Bowl
PO'd
again.
about the game,
not
and
comparable.
you saying finishing that, just was
sure.
totally what they didn't do.
And I
At
gotta
halftime,
be
McCarthy was smiling,
Yeah.
thinking they had this thing wrapped up, blah, 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 whatever.
Right,
So
and
it's
I
just
gotta be
kinda funny
honest,
to say that.
I didn't come up with that completely on my own, even though I totally believe in it. AJ Buscemi, he is a young man who's got cystic fibrosis. And he was actually the manager of the Whitewater Warhawks when they won the national Division III championship basketball team. And he wrote a book, and that's the whole key.
Cool.
So Bronco, you almost tear up. Bronco's got a huge heart. So there's something, I think you still do it around Christmas or sometime of the year. Radio show calling?
Oh, sure. WKLH always has a marathon
Still?
for Children's
Yeah.
Hospital. Because of the pandemic, they didn't have it this year. Through the years, it's been kind of funny because I've sent stuff out. If I donate, let's just say, $24 a month, for a year, it comes up to be $300, whatever it was. But I would email the whole rest of the place and say, this is a power hour. So anybody that wants to donate money to me, I'll put it, $1,000 will put in. Some big company like, let's say Briggs and Stratton, is gonna triple the money. So it's gonna have an impact of $3,000. So through the years I've done that, and one time I screwed up and I said, and Drexel's gonna match it. I left out the part that it was only supposed to be up to $200. But that particular year, Joel told, I can't remember whoever, go ahead and match it, so that was really cool.
And how much was it?
We had the impact of like over $8,000
Awesome.
which got tripled, so it was like 24,000.
Yeah.
So it was
So
kind of cool.
why children? Why does that one speak to you? Do you
Because
think
it's kind of
about-
like wearing a seatbelt. You hope you never need it. It's a great hospital, it's in our backyard, and I want it, my kids thankfully never needed it, but I want it there for my kids' kids, my grandchildren, if that ever happens. But I want it there for Jason's kids, I want it there for your kids. It's such a great, it's a luxury.
Yeah, I've been there. If you're ever down and depressed and need a lift, in the saddest way, but in the most real way, I've visited 2 families and children in Children's Hospital.
Sure.
And that's tough. That's tough. I mean, one person that was in there quite a long time said, the biggest thing, one of the things was no one ever looks you in the eye because you don't know what they're going through and they don't know what you're going through. So you don't make eye contact because you don't know how hard it is for them and they don't know how hard it is for you. So it's unbelievably hard. I mean, to have a kid that's not going to make it. So our little carpet problems and our little tile problems, right? So that's great. So having said that, let's pick it up. Go Pack Go. Shotgun a beer if you want. This is for
Pick your poison.
I've never
God.
shotgunned seltzer. Is that legal?
I
Yeah, I
haven't
don't know.
either. This is gonna
Is
give
this
me
possible?
serious
That's
all that was in there.
heartburn.
Per can.
Can you shotgun?
No, wait, do we
Let's
have
Why
to?
do you, why are
Don't
you
we have
opening it before you
Yeah,
fill the
you have to
hole?
put the hole in first.
Oh, I'll just slam it.
Professional drinker? No, shotgun the beer that we're shotgunning. It's a different thing. Like you act like you're
What if I
knowledgeable
can't?
if you-
What if?
Right, so you
I've
do that.
never
No, you don't
I've
open
always
it.
had somebody do the hole
Yeah,
for
we'll do
me.
the whole. Strobel's the expert. He's the 6
Okay.
vet.
Never.
Okay, wait, we need
Who's
more
got a key?
pens.
Bronco, you got a key.
You got his knife.
Well, he's a little better.
This is all for Gronk,
Oh
too.
God, this is gonna be messy. Yes.
So I think we can do it with the pen. Look away, Holden. This is embarrassing. So we just take this.
Oh God, I knew
Oh,
that
the
was gonna
seltzer. See, it's
happen.
the seltzer. The
Wait,
seltzer
maybe
might
we
be
got
should
your
just
knife?
Beer
slam
won't do
ours.
it. Beer won't do it. What the hell?
Oh my
I
God.
am wet, I got phone. It's,
Here, do
it's
mine,
not
do
that
mine.
big a deal. I don't know, it's seltzer, I think.
Here you go.
There you
Oh
go.
my
It looks
God.
real nice.
Oh God,
I get
it's
the
a seltzer,
seltzer.
it's a
You got this
seltzer.
one too.
It's the
Right.
seltzer.
You didn't give me a big
It's a
enough.
seltzer, but it's carbonated. It's so stupid. I'm gonna puking.
Yes,
Get the
this
hole
is
big
gonna-
enough. Get the
this
hole
is
big
gonna be
enough. We gotta
terrible.
get it at least as big as, you know, at least as big as, no, like bigger. Keep going.
Like bigger?
Yep. It won't
Alright.
pour out. There, that's good. That's good.
Bronco, have you never
Alright.
shotgunned
No.
a beer?
All right, so you hold it open,
God.
Bronco. You put it to your mouth first. And then at the same time, I'll
This
say
is
3,
messy.
2, 1, we open it, and then it'll just pour down
Okay.
your throat.
3, 2, go.
That had to taste bad.
Oh my
Seltzer.
God,
The hole's not big enough. The bigger the
mine's
hole,
gone.
Seltzer is the worst.
Oh my God,
That's a
who
lot of
are
bigger-
you? You're
That's
clearly
all
a
they
high
had in
schooler.
Stand on the
That's
bottle.
so
Talk
stupid.
about
I
Hartford.
still haven't gone.
I don't think you
Really?
can stock in a bottle, can you?
No, we wouldn't be able
My
to
foot
put
wasn't
it
big
in.
enough. All right. I'm a disaster. We're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for coming on. Continue with great things,
Sorry,
guys.
IT.
Everybody, thanks for
Thanks, Joel.
tuning in.
Thanks for having
We'll see you
us.
next
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, guys.